Hello, I'm here talking with Karen Platt, and we're going to discuss some fads from her day in the 1980s. Hi, Karen. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So my first question is going to be, um, so there is a lot of 80s style coming back right now. What are your feelings on this? Do you think it's a good idea or a bad idea?
Well, I have to say, looking back now, I guess I was a fan of them in the 80s, some of the styles, but I don't necessarily think it's a good idea for them to come back. I look back, I see pictures of myself, and I think, oh, that wasn't good. But I don't know, maybe there's ways that they can become more trendy now.
Yes, I agree. Um, so what were some of the fads that you did like when you were a teenager in the 80s? That is.
Well, let's see. Thinking back, I think, well, I remember some of the things that I did. There were pants called genie pants, which were a comfortable, loose cotton pant that kind of were bigger at the hips and narrowed down at the ankles. And we all liked to wear those. There was boots that they called elf boots, which I think in some ways were similar to what Uggs are like today, but a little bit different. And I liked those. Another fad was that we often wore more than one pair of socks so that they kind of looked like leg warmers, and they were real thick. And then we put them over our pants and wore sneakers that way. I guess I think I liked that too.
Sounds interesting. So what were some of the fashions or some of the other fads that you didn't like during the time?
People used to wear their collars popped up, and I never really liked that, and I still don't really like that. I don't know why. I think it looks funny. The Back in the 80s, Madonna made all the bracelets and bangles and jewelry and belts and like chain belts and all that kind of stuff, and I never really got the wearing 50 bracelets up and down your arm kind of thing. And headbands, like sweatbands around your head, kind of the 80s Olivia Newton-John, let's get physical kind of look.
Yeah.
Didn't like that either.
Yeah. I guess some fads are just meant to stay in their time and not come back. But,
exactly.
Mhm.
I can think of one in particular was when people got tails, which was when if you had short hair or shorter hair, you would let one piece of hair grow longer down your back, longer than the rest of your hair. And I think that's something that definitely should not come back. I had one of those, and it didn't work well.
Probably shouldn't have even happened in the 80s either.
Nah, I agree.
All right. Well, thank you for giving us some insight on some of the fads from the 80s. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
I can add one more thing.
Okay.
My mother was never a fan of supporting fads. One of the things that was popular in the 80s was pants called parachute pants, which had many, many pockets and zippers all down, up and down the legs, and they were like weird, like a parachute kind of material. And I wanted a pair really bad, and they were expensive, like $80. And my mother said absolutely not. She wasn't going to spend money on something that wasn't going to be in fashion after a few months. So she wouldn't buy them. She said I had to buy them with my own money, which I chose not to. And she was right. They were a little bit ridiculous, and after a few months, they were no longer popular. So I guess
it's
something...
a good example of a fad.
Yeah, sometimes fads, they come and go quickly, and it can be a waste of money, for sure.
Yes, and mothers know best.
mothers do know best generally, yes.
Yeah. Right. Well, thank you for your input.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.